Artio here. Welcome to another little special. This should be Tuesday now. I think, yes, Tuesday, the 14th of December. 2 days before we can go live again. What we're going to talk about today. We're not going to talk about rock music and heavy metal and that. We're going to talk about my other guilty pleasures. Because I don't just like rock music. I suppose you can count, do you count Mike Oldfield as rock music? Not really, he's done some diverse stuff. Again, that was my dad's fault. He brought Tubular Bells. I've been ever glued. Another one of my favourite artists is Jean-Michel Jarre. Remember when Oxygen came out in 1976, 77? First heard that, wow, this is good. And I got the cassette of Oxygen and I love it to this day. There are two really guilty pleasures. Jean-Michel Jarre I love Jean-Michel Jarre. He's just very, very clever. Tomorrow you'll be looking at some of the music I created many moons ago. And you'll probably listen, so you'll probably find that the Jarre comes out in me in there, The Art of Noise. See, there's another band that people go, why do you like The Art of Noise? Well, I like The Art of Noise because I think that it's very, very clever. I like anything that's clever, and to me, Art of Noise is a electronic prog band. See, I like Vangelis as well. I like that sort of stuff, and I love the albums he did with John Anderson. I think they're terrific. Other guilty pleasures, Natalie Imbruglia. Yeah, nothing rock about that, but I do like Natalie Imbruglia, and yes, there is going to be a ranking of the albums of Natalie Imbruglia next year. We've also done some already of my guilty pleasures. We've done Melanie Chisholm. Bread is another one. I love Bread, and that's my dad's fault again. A really good band. There was one band that I really like. Again, I've already done them. It was Ultravox. When I first heard Vienna, I thought it was amazing, and I've not got all their albums, but I've got a majority of them. But I have got one album, The Bloodied Sword. This is a mid-year solo album, and we will be doing a review of that in the new year. That's pretty hoopy. Other bands that I like, I don't mind listening to the Carpenters. Made some really good songs. Pretty good stuff. I don't mind the Mamas and Papas. Listen to them. These are sort of shows that you'll be getting on Retro Ranking next year. That's what Retro Ranking is about, me going through some of my guilty pleasures. And then you got the odd singles that come out that were quite a guilty pleasures, like the Safety Dance, Man Without Hats. You know, remember that one? Yeah, I loved it. Thought it was so quirky. I look at like a little bit of Depeche Mode. Some of their songs are really good. Tears for Fears, pretty good. Simple Minds, again, I like Simple Minds. They're pretty good. Adam and the Ants. Yeah, I love the Adam and the Ants. Now that is an original version of Kings of the Wild Frontier up there. Another big guilty pleasure of mine, and she will be featured next year, and that's Kate Bush. I think Kate Bush is one of them artists you either love or you hate. There's no, I don't mind some of her stuff. You either love her stuff or you don't. I love her stuff. I got all her albums, of course, so we'll be featuring her. More modern stuff. Now, I don't mind classical music. I think that's a lot to do with we used to have it at school in assemblies when we used to go back to our classrooms. There's things that that I've then heard later on at concerts, like the Firebird Suite that Yes use, Mars, the Bringer of War. Love that piece of music. La Gaza Ladra, the Thieving Magpie, for Marillion used. And there's a band that I like, and I am going to do a ranking of them. Although everything on their album is covers, there's two guys come under the name of Two Cellos. Now they play rock music on cellos, and they are absolutely brilliant. Really like listening to them. They've done some great versions of rock songs. They've done a lot of AC/DC, they've done Muse, they've done Guns N' Roses, they've done Nirvana. We don't talk about them because I'm not a fan of Nirvana, never have been. I never really got into grunge, and I thought there were better grunge bands than Nirvana. Alice in Chains was a far better band. But that's for another day. I don't mind ABBA, as you know. I rank them, pick my favourite songs. A band that is a real guilty pleasure, and it's again a band we did not so long ago, Sparks. I've always loved as a kid, This Town Isn't Bigger Enough Than the Both of Us. I think that's a great song. Then I didn't hear anything of them until the #1 Song in Heaven album. Now, my mate, who we talked about yesterday, whose dad got me into AC/DC, he collects funny coloured vinyl on that, and he'll buy anything that's different. And I remember him getting, I think, Beat the Clock came out on a 12-inch pink vinyl, which he went and brought. And you listen to it and go, wow, this is good. And again, you start listening to that, and then he brought the album, and I listened to the album. And back in the day, all his dad done was put it on tape for me, as you did in the day. He put a lot of his, like his AC/DC stuff, he put on the tape for me. So Sparks, and then I've sort of listened to Sparks all through their career now, and I think they're getting better. They went through that mad stage through the 80s. They were totally weird as you like, and some of the stuff was pretty pretty grim. But I think now their latest 2 albums have been absolutely superb. There's a lot of bands like that. They go for a dodgy stage and they come back strong. Another band that I really like, and that's Sky. John Williams, Kevin Peake, Christian Fry, Herbie Flowers, Steve Gray or Francis Monkman. I haven't done a ranking on them, but I am going to. I just got into them in 1982 when they brought out Toccata. My dad was into them, and he went to see them a couple of times when they were at their height. I saw them once after John Williams had left on the Great Balloon Race tour. It lost some of its sparkle, but it was still good to go and see them. I just love the sound they got. I mean, John Williams is a fabulous guitarist. I've got an album, one of his solo albums, Travelling. It's brilliant. Again, an album that I'll probably do on a one-hit wonder. And I've got a Kevin Peake solo album. That's pretty good. It's all very dated 70s music, but it's pretty good. And as you know, I like 10cc. Always have liked 10cc and XTC. Another band I like it's a bit rock and rolly, but it's the Stray Cats. I like them. They're sort of rock and roll, which is my sort of origins. But yeah, other people that I don't mind that's not rock and roll. I've always sort of liked David Essex's stuff. I know he's more of a ladies thing, but he was quite good in his day. Love a band called City Boy as well. They were from my childhood. Like Neil Young, and he's more rock. Other bands that have really I've liked that are not really thing are OMD. I've seen them; they're pretty good. I love that period when they did Maid of Orleans and Souvenir. Absolutely fantastic stuff that was. Yeah, I don't mind some of that early 80s pop, you know, like Eurythmics, and I like some of Duran Duran stuff, especially off their first album, The Planet Earth, that sort of era. They were really good songs. I think I was lucky, you know, if a certain age, some of the early 80s stuff, even though I was into rock music, I did like a lot of the early 80s. I mean, I love Fade to Grey, Visage. That's a terrific song. I like Blue Monday, New Order. That's pretty good. I love Elbow. I really like Elbow, and I am going to be doing a ranking of them next year. Love their Seldom Seen Kid album. Pretty cool. Again, it's not rock, it's just different. They are terrific. Don't mind, what's the name? Toyah. Don't mind Toyah Wilcox either. Obviously she's married to a certain Mr. Fripp. But yeah, I like some of her stuff, that's pretty good. And a single I loved as a kid, well, I wasn't a kid, I was a young teenager, Japanese Boy by Nika. Yeah, you see, I mean, and obviously in our house we loved ABBA, as we've said, so it was always good. Another, you know, Beatles as well, anything to do with the Beatles. Dad was a big Beatles fan. I have got some really obscure stuff on album that I've brought. I'm sorting through it at the moment. I've got some a weird and wonderful album by Mike Rutherford from Genesis. It's not even. It doesn't even. It's very poppy. So as you see, you don't just listen to head banging stuff all the time. I do listen to other stuff. Make a change. Because, you know, even I, as much as I love rock music, you know, now and again you need to listen to something a little bit different, a little bit mellow. I think a go-to album for me, if I want something really mellow, is actually John and Vangelis, just as I mentioned. Got lovely touches of Vangelis on the keyboards, and John Anderson's voice is pretty cool. Okay, that's another little thing to get you tied over. Tomorrow you're not going to have much of me gassing. I'm just going to put some of the music that I use to introduce the little shows we do. Tell you how that all came about in that show last week. But I'll actually put it down for you now, so you can have a listen. And what I'd like you to do is actually put what you think of it. It's only a bit of fun, but critique me. I'm always critique other bands, so critique me. Okay, have fun. I'll speak to you soon.